Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29. This time I'm back for a trade review, which is also a subscriber request. And I'd like to thank this subscriber who requested this by the name of Dragon Majesty. Definitely check out his channel. And I must admit, I know it's taken a long time to get to this, but it's also finally nice enough to get around to reading it. And I've just finished reading it not so long ago. So you're going to get my raw thoughts in regards to the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and also the end of the story. And I might as well jump to the first things first, and that is with the cover. This cover somewhat spoils the reader of what to expect in the story. But is that a bad thing? Not really at all, I must admit. Not really at all, because you don't know, in regards to, with this cover, in what order it's going to be done. And for that, I'd like to give the cover for this particular trade paperback an 8.5 out of 10. Now, the work that Scott Lobdell, Brett Booth, Norm Rapmund, Louis Guerrero did in this, even with the art, was quite amazing. And I will show you some of the art of that right now. Of course, we see Tempest Fuggernaut on the left-hand side and Wally on the right. And this is around the first story. This sort of jumps into the second story. This sort of jumps into the third or fourth part of this story. This draws a little bit closer towards the end, and of course I'll cover the art that was meant to be connected to Generation Zero, or the 5G stuff. And here's the stuff around the 5G, which they probably practically renamed Infinite Frontier, or should we say Future State. Now, the art throughout, beginning to end, I'd have to give an 8 out of 10 because it was consistent all around. From first story to the last story, or from the first issue to the last issue, it was really consistent all around. And I must admit, the way how some of the art was pulled off for some of the stunts that were being pulled off by Wally, you almost did not expect. I loved how the art integrated like things with the multiverse as well as things that were happening around Wally West, and that really shone in this story. Now, moving into the story itself, we of course meet up with Wally West, who's in Blackgate Prison, and his encounter is with Tempest Fuggernaut. Now, I think one thing that people need to remember is that Tempest Fuggernaut, though he's sort of like seen as a new character, one of the places that I remember seeing him was actually in the Sideways run. And I quite liked his character, and I also feel that in this story, Scott Lobdell also managed to capture Tempest Fuggernaut's character, as well as capturing Wally's character and his interactions with friends, family, and also people on other worlds. Now, I'm not going to mention the world locations because we do end up meeting up with one world Superman, one where there's a world run by vampires. That gives you a bit of a rough idea where Wally ends up going. And coming fresh off the bat in regards to this, I think some of the best scenes in this were when Wally did actually get to catch up with his family, did get to see his family, did get to spend some time with his family. Whether it was in where he was stuck in the multiverse, to even in one of the worlds that he ended up going to. And those just really shone. And you could see that how much it brightened his character. Much how it brightens even the thumbnail that I use for this. And it was nice to see sort of like a Wally going through reform to the catastrophe which was called Heroes in Crisis by Tom King, which we all know. My goodness, I think this developed more of Wally's character, treating him more like a hero than a villain. And what Tom King did with him was horrible. What Scott Lobdell did here was amazing. Now, each issue I really believe had something to offer. To seeing Wally literally in Blackgate, even encountering some of the villains that he might have also been responsible to putting in Blackgate prison, as well as others. Then from there, Tempest Fuganaut enters his world and basically gives him the mission to help, in some essence, play a part in repairing parts in the multiverse. But it also comes at a price. And you see that, especially towards the end, when you reach the last issue, or the last couple of issues, to which one of the things that you do encounter Wally West is that one of the fears holding him back is also his family, like his love for his family. And what does he do? Does he make the decision to go ahead and stay with his family, or does he make the sacrifice because he's got a bigger enemy to which he must contend against, which actually does lead us into the Dark Knight's death metal run, being the Batman Who Laughs. And you do get to see that bit in relation to the 5G story, which was, or the Generation Zero story. And as this is occurring, you sort of like get to see the, I think it's called the Hyperstream or Hypertime. And you see all these images that connect not just the Wally West, but also parts of the DC universe, like the beginning to the end. And it also connects with the multiverse, like the very same multiverse that he has been interacting with. And you could definitely see in the character, it was a hard choice for him to make that decision. Like, literally, it was a hard choice for him to make the decision that he made. So, overall, just covering the main issues of Flash Forward, because I'll give the Generation Zero Flash a separate rating compared to the rating for the first 6 issues. So for the first 6 issues, overall, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed Wally's character. I enjoyed his interactions with other multiverses. And as the story was going, as the story was continuing, you could see that even his character was reforming along the way. In some cases a little bit fast, but you could always see that there was that one thing in the back of his mind, and that was addressed at basically the last issue. to which I'll give the last issue a 9 out of 10. Now, moving into the Generation Zero issue, even though we also know that it's connected to the death metal run, to which some people enjoyed, others didn't, and you're free to have those decisions, have those choices. Did I feel it was actually necessary for Wally West to have that? Not really. I don't think it was really necessary in the story for the Generation Zero one. In fact, it could have been left at issue 6, and you'd still know that this character was heading towards the Batman Who Laughs, because of even Tempest Fuganaut making his appearance in the run. He too would personally know of the dangers of the Batman Who Laughs, and only so much that he can interact with. It would be nice to see more around maybe just Tempest Fuganaut, even if they put out maybe a 3-issue mini-series, maybe even a 6, to see some of the worlds that he is responsible for, and the worlds that he is responsible for in interacting with them. That is something I would like to see come out of this. Well, until then, please don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.